What's up guys, Pat here with another video. This time we're going to do something I haven't done in a while, which is a draft walkthrough. This is going to be for 2 packs of Union Force, 2 packs of Terminator Power, and 2 packs of Colossal Warfare. I know that's a little strange, but that's what the store ended up having. So I also wanted to do this because Draft Box 3 is right around the corner, and I felt it was important for me to start reintroducing draft to you guys, getting you guys more familiar with it so you guys understand what you need to do to succeed in the format. So here's a walkthrough explaining my picks. So the first pack, the best card in the pack is Zeno, the Playing God, for sure. Yeah, we opened a super rare, but Zeno is obviously the best pack. But Yajirobe technically is removal, and he's really light on blue. Zeno is 3 blue, so we can easily pick him and be happy about it. Also, since Zeno is so heavy on blue, there's a fair chance that he's going to table back to us. I should note that this draft takes place at Nerdvana Comics and Games in South Jersey. If you guys are from South Jersey and you guys are looking to up your game, definitely stop by. We play Saturdays at 5 p.m. We have many of the best players in the state there, including several state champions. So yeah, here we go into pack 2. It's pretty clear. Piercing Super Saiyan 2 Gohan is the pick. The card's just a bomb, and it wins as soon as you play it. Unlike Zeno, which can't necessarily win you the game, so we're happy to take that card, knowing that if green is open, we're definitely going to go and move into that strategy. So right now, I'm looking to try to force green if possible, simply based on that pick. So here we go. Next pack, Mafuba is a very strong card. The Android 19 is also nice, but Mafuba is technically another removal card, and we've already taken Yajirobe, so we're already looking to try to splash blue. And the fact that the player to my right passed me Mafuba leads me to believe that he's not taking blue, and seeing the Zamasu there as well means he's probably not. Zamasu is definitely the best card in the pack for sure, just because in limited there's no way to get it off the board. I mean, there's no way in general aside from Zeno, the Playing God. It's just going to be a beater in a slow format they can't deal with. I highlighted the Trunks there because the Trunks is removal and he is in our colors, so that's what we're looking to see wheel here. Looking at this pack, this is a really weak pack at this point. Obviously, there's the Cell Jr. and then the Zeno button are my playables. The best card in the pack is the Videl. I'm looking at it, and you can see I'm debating between these two. The Videl wouldn't be out of the question here either because of the Tournament of Power packs that are in here. There's a lot of Gohans. So you see I'm hesitating because none of these are really great picks. I end up taking the Zeno button because it might be relevant. And there you go, the Zeno from pack 1 wheeled. I should note that this is a 5-man pod because we had an odd number of people. So yeah, I end up taking the Zeno. I got the wheel as expected in that pack. So again, another weak pack. The best card here for sure is, in terms of raw power, is Majin Buu. The most playable to me is Videl, Gohan's companion. I think that's the card's name. That's the most playable to me. None of them are really great options. I take the Videl knowing that I'll probably be able to play the card come Terminator Power if I open a Gohan. So again, it looks like red is crazy open, but I'm not really sold on trying to play red because none of the red that is here is very good. Union Force is pretty bad. Normally, if you saw this much red and it was all one set we were drafting from, you would probably end up going red because this is a very clear sign that no one at the table wants to play red. When it's important to count the number of cards that you are seeing though in these packs, per color. So let's see. We're winding down pack 1 at this point. So take that. Just at this point, it's just basically just scraps. Nothing is really relevant here. So let's see. And this is where just apparently I guess the packs got mixed up at this point. But there isn't really anything super relevant in these last couple of picks for sure. So I think we can safely start to move into. Let me see, we can safely move ahead, I believe, a little bit here in the video. Try not to eat up too much time. So at this point, we're opening our next pack, so we're going to go right this time. So looking right off the bat, we have. There's actually quite a number of good playables in here. Enraged Gohan's Awakening is the first thing that jumps out at me because it's technically a negate and a removal. The Vegeta is second on my list because he is a medium game removal. Removal is very premium in this format. So let's see. Android 17 is also very high on my list, but there are other 5-drop bombs in the format, so I think he's an easy pass. So Piccolo's really good here. Piccolo is very difficult to get off the board because there's of a lack of removal, so he's going to hard lock my opponent's hand at 6. The crit Goku's fine, but it's not as good as Piccolo. I'm also of note is the Trunks leader there. We basically don't really have a leader at this point because Cooler Leader of Troops is not a real card. Let's be honest here. Beerus is in our colors and is a 4-drop double striker. Cooler is the best card in the pack. I see the Cooler, but like you notice how I'm not even spending too much time looking at it. I know it's a powerful card and can win the game on its own, but it's not in our color suite. We're not going to try and force it. So I'm looking at thinking of taking the Mai because I'm hoping at this point, hey, I just saw Trunks. Maybe we can get the Trunks to come back to us, make the Mai relevant. So this pack is basically dead to us, so it's just the easy Wii Sacred card. He's just the best card in the pack. He gives us a nice beater at the top end of our curve. Very difficult to get off the board, serves as a blocker in a stale board state. Cell is not relevant to us. Yeah, Yajirobe, another just insanely good card in Limited. I can't believe it's being passed to me this late. This is like 3rd pick, 4th pick in pack 2. So it's a very easy pick up there. And at this point, I think we are back to our original pack. It's definitely the Aura of Rage Trunks at this point. It's a removal, it's in the color. The only other thing that's worth consideration is the Father Son for the bounce. But that's a very low pick in my opinion. So we just take the Trunks because it's a body that's also doubles as removal. This is very easy unyielding. I'm looking at the Trunks time machine trying to see if I can make it work. But at this point I'm thinking, hey, I haven't seen really any Gokus or Vegetas, so it's just not worth it. So we end up taking the unyielding. Carlos passes me to the pack. Let's see what we get in here. Only playable is Tiny Heroes, Haru and Maki, so we just take it. Ship the rest. That's going to serve as a nice tech choice for us, by the way, by allowing us late in the game to pump a guy for some relevant damage and get through. None of these are good at all. The best card is Potara. I think I noticed here I took the Spovich because I was thinking about it, but I was like, okay, the Potara is actually a relevant card. It's not great, but it is a relevant card in case we somehow pack a Vegito later on down the line, because it's technically a colorless card. And if I somehow, you know, need it, you know, it's at least more useful than Spovich. So there we see. None of these are particularly good. Deborah is the better of the 2 cards, so we just hate draft it. These are both terrible as well. None of these are really relevant. Probably should take the Niaz, just because it's double striker. Okay, I do. So here we go, we're going into Tournament of Power now. So one of the big problems with the way that this draft was structured is that it's very hard to draft themes. So you're just drafting a lot of good stuff cards. Normally you can get a strategy together and do work with it. So looking at the cards in the pack, there's nothing particularly good in this pack. True Form Ganos has the payoff of if I end up getting the other Ganos, it's really good. And it's still just a 5-drop double striker. So that's why I'm leaning towards it, but nothing in this pack screams great. Prum is okay as a barrier card, but nothing in here is really good. Obuni is a trap, to be honest. Like, I'm looking at it, but I know it's a trap. It's not that good of a card. It's between these 3 cards. Any of them is probably fine. Obuni, I think, is the worst. I wouldn't fault you if you took Prum in that situation. So here we go. At this point, I'm still looking for a leader. Gohan's exceptional. 17 is good, so is Kawe in the pack, but we're already on the blue-green train. So it's between these 3 cards right here. As you can see, I'm moving them up. I'm moving them up in priority in terms of what I would actually take. Whis is a solid card, but not a great card because we have yet to see a Beerus aside from the crabby 4-drop. So right now, I'm thinking if I can take this Gohan and the Android 18 wheels to me, then I've made good on this. And I've made the selection now at this point to take Gohan, and I'm going to now try to aggressively pursue the strategy of drafting every blue and green Universe 7 card I can find in order to make the strategy work. So looking through this, the best card in the pack is Maiden Charge. And now you're probably thinking, why is Maiden Charge the best card in the pack? Well, Maiden Charge, even though I can never trigger the effect unless I take Rebrand, is still a 1-cost negate in all situations. So that alone makes it worth taking and limited. It's basically a full power energy. So looking through this, Android 17 is probably the very clear pick here, because again, it's Universe 7, it's on our colors, and it is a very good defensive card. I'm very happy to see Android 17 in that pack, because there's almost no way he doesn't make it into the final 40 card deck. He is very playable, regardless of what I end up playing as far as leader. So I believe at this point I'm waiting for Steve to pass me the pack. Everything is backed up behind Carlos. Carlos on my left at this point. I'm assuming that he should be in either red or yellow, but later on, if that's not the case, I'm just reviewing what I already have taken, just so I can see what I'm looking. You know, when you have like some downtime here, depending on if the rules allow for it, it is nice to look through your deck and see what you're missing. So I'm like sitting here saying to myself, hey, I probably should try and take a couple more 1-drops, and I probably should look at some 5s. So here is a Universe 7 Backbone. I know that most people in the store will not let me have super combos. They hate draft super combos for whatever reason. So seeing that one, and that one spans multiple leaders in the pack, it's best to just take the Backbone. I've already decided I'm going to try and go into Gohan, because Gohan right now is the only leader I have besides Cooler, and there's a 0 chance I'm ever playing Cooler. There's like no real relevant Overwhelm cards that I could possibly be playing in this draft format. Set 4 has no real good Overwhelm targets, so again, we're just backed up behind Steve. There he goes, he passes me the pack. Brienne. There's Prum again. Then there's Tien Shinhan. So Tien Shinhan is technically just a 4-drop 20k. He's on our colors. And if I decide to hard commit to U7 Gohan, he can function as a draw 2 later on in the game. More importantly than all of that, though, is if I somehow manage to pick up every single Tien, it'll work out. So I decide to opt to take the Prum here, and the Tien is most likely going to wheel because the quality of the pack is low, and Tien's not good unless you get multiples. So right there's a super combo. And there's the 18. The 18 that we wanted to wheel, it came back. So that lets me know that nobody is in Universe 7. Which means that I'm going to probably get that Tien Shinhan when it comes back around. And I'll probably pick up any subsequent Tien Shinhans as well. Speed it up ever so slightly. Here we go. Next pack. So, nothing in this pack screams great. Dispo is the best card in the pack, but we're not in that color. So we take Marichim because he is the most playable of the cards that we can possibly take. He probably will not make the cut, but if we need a 40th playable card, he is on color, he's relevant on turn 1, he's a 0-5k. Overhead. There we go. So looking at this, you can make a case for the Comfrey, just in the off chance, but we just take the 1-drop just because it's searchable. The Tien did wheel. Jiren's obviously insane. The fact that Jiren's that late in the pack means somebody at the table messed up. That's like kind of my clue that, hey, somebody's not drafting what they should. The Coquette, you know, that proves for sure. That's why I'm arguing with Carlos to my left there. Why was this given to me? Because if this is given to me, that means somebody at the table seriously messed up and is not drafting the strategy that they should be drafting. I know who it is. Let's see if you guys can figure it out by the end of the video. So looking at this pack, skimming through it, Basil. Basil is the best card for the purposes of what we're trying to do here. Zerloin is also a decent one because it's a self-awaken card. Yeah, we're probably not playing Rebrian, but that card can help us self-awaken. But it's lower on our priority list because we're Gohan. Gohan doesn't really care that much if he awakens. So we end up taking the Basil here just because it has the upside. If I see a Lavender or either of the 2 Bergamos, the card becomes very valuable because it ends up being a 20k dual attacker for 3. So then Carlos ships me this pack. Chappelle is immediately jumps at me for the same reason as Zerloin. Prom again. Ready to Fight is definitely the pick though right now until I see Trios the Danger Bergamo, which raises the question of why the hell did Carlos pass me that? Because that card is still like decent cash, so even in a tournament like this where the value is low, he probably should have taken it. Instead, he just passes me the Bergamo, and I am more than happy since I'm well into blue at this point to just take the Bergamo. In a higher level tournament where you probably don't get to keep the cards, or the goal is to win the tournament rather than money draft, you probably might not take the Bergamo, but the Bergamo is way higher power level than the Ready to Fight Goku, which was the second best card in the pack for our purposes. So yeah, we're just scanning the pack. The Ready to Fight Goku is clearly the pick because we're U7 Gohan, and that's a draw 2. That's a 1-mana draw 2, which is probably better than the other Tien. We're just making note of the Tien, that the Tien will most likely come back around the table. The first one came to us, so we're most likely going to see the second one. Alright, Thick Boy. Focus Mind Sun Gohan's really good for what we're trying to do here. And then there's the Bergamo that's also of note in there. We still haven't seen a Lavender, so the odds that we're going to be able to play like a 1-of lock is really small, but we still make note of the Bergamo because we already have Basil. So having access to more Trios of the Dangers is really important. Waiting forever for Carlos to read his cards. He's thinking. Skip ahead a little bit. So he passes me the pack. There we go. Oops, sorry for the freeze for a second. There we go. So here's the pack. Take the Ready to Fight Goku. Not sure why I didn't riffle through that one. Probably because I already knew everything. Yeah, because this is all stuff we've all seen before. So here's the Zerloin again, but from originally. We'll just take the Zerloin because it's just better than taking Rosie. Rosie's the only other valid pick. But, you know, Rosie's pretty low when it's basically going to be what Android 17 already is for us, and it's not a relevant type. Doesn't help us Self-Awaken, doesn't have Double Strike. There's another Ready to Fight Goku. So at this point we're at 3. Playing U7 Gohan, that feels fantastic. So there's the Tien. The Tien once again wheels. Very surprised nobody took Bergamo leader at that point. Zoirai, and there's the Bergamo. So that paid off. That wheeled again. See, notice how I'm setting up a lot of these wheels. I'm like intentionally looking at the packs and going, what's most likely going to come back to me? Take the Focus Mind Sun Gohan. So I know right away when I see these packs, I know exactly what I'm taking because I've made the mental note. 3 or 4 picks from now, if everything goes as I expect it to, and the players are drafting the way I expect them to, I'm going to be getting the cards that I know I should be getting. So we just take, between these 2 cards, they're both useless. We take Sorel because we saw a Bergamo. Somebody might be playing Bergamo. Last pick is obviously the Son Goku that no one's going to play. It's completely dead in this draft because you can't actually fill an entire deck with it. It's just useless. So now we move on to Colossal Warfare, passing back left. I'm still feeling pretty content. I think I need to have a couple more 4 and 5s at this point. So yeah, and then anything that's late would be good. No money cards here, so we're just looking through. Impenetrable Defense Hirudegarn is okay. It's not great. You know, there's a lot of good things about it, but it's not exactly the best 7-drop. It's 4 blue. I already have Zeno. I already have Piercing, so probably not good. Right now, I'm explaining to Carlos how swap works because he hasn't played since the start of set 4. He basically hasn't even looked at the yellow cards in the set. So I'm looking through all the stuff, and this pack is incredibly weak. Hirudegarn is the highest power level card in the whole pack. I don't want to take Tapion because he forces me to mill 3, and you never want to have cards that self-mill in limited unless they outright win you the game, because you'll deck yourself really quickly in this game, especially with how much draw power you 7 Gohan and other leaders have. So we're going to take Symbol because it's, you know, a 1-drop blocker and it's on our colors. So it is a filler card. It is a playable. It is not amazing, but it is most likely will, you know, make it into our final cut. So right now, this is another really mediocre pack. The best card in the pack is probably, in terms of raw power, is the Gotenks for our purposes. But, you know, the Heroic Encounter Trunks could be great if we can find a Tapion. So right now, we're going to take the Cronoa, though, just because it cantrips. We don't have any of the relevant pieces for the other 2 cards, so we'll take whatever is playable. So I'm looking at this pack. There's a Hoi in it. There's a Sacrifice in it, which is good for us as well. The Hoi doesn't do anything because we have to have Hirudegarn leader. But the thing is, there is a Hirudegarn in the pack. And the thing is, I'm debating, do I just abandon my U7 strategy entirely because I was past Hirudegarn? Because in my opinion, Hirudegarn is basically, on a scale of, you know, 1 to 10 on how powerful Hirudegarn is as a card objectively, he's like a 9. He's damn near unbeatable just because of his leader skill alone. It doesn't even matter what's in the rest of the pack. So at this point, I draft Hirudegarn knowing one of 2 things. He either becomes my leader and replaces my strategy, or he straight up just is hate draft so I don't have to play against him. Because it's a bomb I don't want to ever have to play against. I know that's a bad mindset to adapt, is to be like, hey, I don't want to take this. But he's still just that powerful. Just in limited, feels like he's unbeatable, and you usually can't let unbeatable bombs like that go. So that last pack was really powerful. We had the Bounce Goku was really good. And we had Nail. I prioritized the Nail because the Nail is more relevant in more situations than the Bounce Goku. The fact that it was passed to me after Hirudegarn also, like, yeah, I just feel like, yeah, at this point, I can tell that, you know, Steve to my right should solidly be in red-yellow. Because he is giving me just absolutely nutty, you know, blue and green cards. I'm ready, like, and then also, I feel like Carlos to my left is not in blue. I feel like he's biting off me in green, but he's not in blue because otherwise he would not have passed me Hirudegarn. So this pack is just absolutely terrible for us. There is no playables for us. Once again, this proves to me that somebody at the table messed up because Carrying Mom Videl is still in the pack, and that card's very powerful. Look how many yellow cards are in this pack. The sheer amount of yellow cards. There should be multiple people playing yellow, and there just feels like there's not in my pod. Nothing here is good for us. Like, absolutely nothing is good for us. So we're just trying to figure out what's the best thing we can take. It's going to probably end up being the Time Trauma, because the Time Trauma, worst comes to worst, if we are desperate for a 3-drop, it's a 3-drop 15k vanilla. It doesn't do me any good to hate out a specific yellow card in that pack, because it literally serves no purpose in helping me win. At this point, I have a rough idea of what actually I'm going to end up playing in the draft, but I might, until I sit down and actually look at it all fanned out, I might be like, hey, I thought I had 4 3-drops, but I really only have 3. Good thing I took that Mass Saiyan, because now I can actually have a 4th playable. Yeah, it's not great, but if it helps me fill out my curve and make plays every single turn, then it's worth it. A 3-drop 15k vanilla is not stellar, but at least it will, if you're going first, you know, curving out into like a 1-drop, a 2-drop 15k, and then another 3-drop 15k can put a lot of pressure on your opponent. It's very difficult to come back from, you know, a losing board state in limited because you just don't have access to consistently powerful cards. So if you can just flood the board with a bunch of 2 and 3-drop 15ks, that's a very viable strategy in this format. Just the 5-drops, they just, you know, the 4-drops are all like usually 20k with, you know, effects that you can't really trigger. So they're not much better than just paying for 2 15ks for the same amount. So here we go, we get the next pack. Nothing in here is good. Again, this is, I think, the original pack we had. We have Minosha. We can take because we do have Hirudegarn, but we have yet to see a Wanderer. And if Wanderer is open, there's a really high chance that no one's taking it. So we just take the 7-drop because the 7-drop is playable no matter what. It might not find its way into our deck. but we need high drops at this point. The big thing I'm sure many of you have noticed right now, if you're paying attention to my picks, is there seems to be a distinct lack of 5 drops and 6 drops. None of these are playable for us. So again, this proves to me that either somebody's not in red yellow when the person to my right should probably solidly be into it. So we're gonna probably take Gravy here for the same reason we took Mass Saint. It's a true 2-drop 15k with no effect. It's just a body. At this point, none of these are really playable for us. We don't have any Namekians before Dende, so he's useless. So we take the Heroic Trunks because it's energy with upside. If we see a Tapion at any point, an Oath's Power Tapion I should say, we're just kind of in there. None of these are good. Again, we take Gravy for the same reason. If we decide to go all in, switch to Harugarn Leader and just try and do beats, he's going to end up being a relevant card. Fortunately, when we actually sat down to fix this deck, Gravy ended up not being needed because we actually had quite a number of playables, especially from the upcoming pack that you will see, the final pack. So I realize this video is obviously probably going a little bit longer than you guys are probably used to seeing, but I really hope that by me showing it to you in real time and not speeding up through it, you guys can kind of get my whole thought process on why I'm doing what I'm doing. I felt like if I sped it up at 1.25 or 1.5 times, I wouldn't have enough time to get in all the things I wanted to say about how I conducted the draft. This video is largely for educational purposes, so you guys can really understand why I take what I take. So far this pack is nothing good for us until we hit Legendary Flute. Killy Zone is of importance because we don't have any overwhelm cards, so it cantrips later on in the game, so it's not a dead card. The go time was also okay, but we already have Symbol, we already have 2 Yajirobis. It's probably not the best thing. That's me correcting myself and realizing I should have passed to Steve instead of Carlos. So now we just wait for Carlos to take an eternity to make his pick. Any day now. Try and progress it a little bit. And it looks like he's about to make his pick. Yep, there we go. At this point, I'm like, come on, man. You're taking forever. There's no really rushing somebody through the draft process, so if this ever happens, you just have to be patient. It's better that your players in the pod take long and make their picks, and not rush through them, because when you rush through the picks like that and packs stack up, it can cause confusion like you guys saw in pack 1. Things kind of got out of order. I would recommend that you zone draft. We didn't do it here in this video, but zone drafting is you can't pass your pack until everyone at the table collectively is ready to go and passes it, so that way you're kind of on a rotation. It's like a, hey, is everybody good? Okay, and pass. So when you're first getting introduced to draft, I highly recommend that you guys end up drafting that way. So looking at this pack once again, more yellow. It feels like no one at my table's at yellow when they clearly should be. So the 2 best cards for our purposes are Saiyaman, because it's just a beater with barrier, and Angela. Angela is just critical. We don't care about the slug effect. We're just playing it because it's a 15k. Remember, a viable strategy in this format is to just go wide with 15ks. So it's a matter of, am I more afraid of removal, or would I rather have the guaranteed critical? And the critical ends up winning out. I don't think people value Saiyaman that highly, so I think I'm going to get him back. The Power Barrier Piccolo is very good here, until I see the sneak attacks on Goku at the end. That's just a 15k with the upside of just, out-tempoing my opponent. I'd be more than happy to just keep playing dudes that set my opponent back on energy every turn. In Constructed, it's not that good because you're usually bouncing back high-impact cards, like Foreseeing Hit, or any number of cards with Power Tapion. Those are cards you don't want to bounce back, because they get your opponent replay those really powerful, devastating effects. Bouncing back like a 4-drop 20k that doesn't do anything with their leader, great. Oath's Power Tapion. We were looking for that card forever. We finally found it, and the upside of Oaths of the Heroic Trunks is in the pack, so I make a note of that. So that's probably going to come wheeling back to me. If it doesn't, I'm probably taking Matoa in the pack. There's a Wanderer, but we didn't get the Minotia to table in the past pack, so the Wanderer is effectively useless. I'm debating this foil Popo just because it's a foil Popo, but like Tapion, it's never going to make the cut. It's bad. There's Poutine. Poutine's a blocker, but we already have a lot of those. We have Symbol, we have Yajirobe. We already passed on Goten, so Poutine's just, you know, objectively worse than that. So yeah, this pack is just really ugh. I think we just take the minus Killing Zone because, again, we don't have any Overwhelm cards, and it's basically just a freebie. It's just a free draw for us. Nothing particularly great. Wanderer is okay. Any three of these cards here are pretty much worth it. I'm surprised I actually went with the Popo. I think that's largely just to have a foil Popo, because like none of those cards are really going to make the cut. Killing Zone is probably the best one. So there we go. We get a Killing Zone in this pack. And then looking through this, again, look, more yellow. It seems like someone at this table is afraid of yellow. It should have probably been me jumping into yellow and realizing yellow was so underdeveloped. But, again, you just look at it, and I started so strong in green and blue that I was already committed to it. I didn't want to change draft strategies midway through. There's also the fact that relatively yellow is somewhat weak and limited in general. So the Heroic Encounter Trunks tables. At this point, we're feeling pretty good. We've got a very strong Universe 7 shell. If we decide to go U7 Gohan. And then we have a way, we have two of these Heroic, you know, Trunkses to get our Tapions to Self-Awaken. We have a couple other Self-Awaken cards. Again, we're just missing 5-drops. That's the only thing that's like very apparent to me at this point in the draft, is that there's no blue and green 5-drops. So it lets me know that somebody, it's either to my immediate left or right, is just taking high drops in blue or green because they think that they have, you know, everything all set up. And meanwhile, I'm sitting here with like a perfect curve from 1 to 4, and I have a ton of negates and, you know, self-awakening cards, and I have premium removal. So it's kind of hard to argue that I'm not solidly in these colors. It also doesn't seem quite as apparent to a lot of people, I would think, maybe some of you guys as well, just because we are drafting from 3 different sets, so there's almost no consistency whatsoever. This is largely just, again, explaining my reasoning for picks. So we take the Gravy again because it's the only playable card, and the last card of the draft is this Golden Ape Goku. So there you have it, guys. This is the entire draft deck. This is everything I drafted. For those of you guys who are wondering, I ended up going 4-0 with this deck because it's just really, really powerful. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. We'll go over some other, you know, cards that are coming out for World Tournament to help you guys, you know, prepare for that actual format. Alright guys, until next time.